welcome to Hillbilly Herpetology. Today, well, this is Butters, and this is Toast and Butters, okay? Today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over what it's like having a full-time job, or in my case, beyond a full-time job, and taking care of a large collection. I call this series A Day in the Life. I've done a few before, and this is just a day in the life of having a large collection. We'll go through some bits and pieces, some tidbits and tadbits of information, and have at it. Alright, so over here we have strawberry jam. This is what we believe to be our female red monster hypo crush. Pretty much it's a awesome red dragon. So what we do to get this ready for the day is I've got some greens up in here. I've just put some fresh, it's a collard green mix. There's like several different types of fresh greens in there. I put some snow peas in there, put some carrots in there, and then over here inside of this I've got bugs for the day. So we've got a bunch of different bugs in there, and he's going to be able to go down in here. He can pick if he wants greens or if he wants bugs, and that's this one ready for the day. Okay, so this here is my specialty formula for my picky gourmet eater. This is for Malachi, the Tyrian albino tegu. This guy here is horrible at eating, so he needs his food cut up into little tiny pieces, and here recently I have discovered he has an extreme fondness for deer meat. So I get a big chunk of deer meat out of the freezer, I thaw it, and I feed it off to him. Now I will say this is not typically what I would be doing with a tegu. The reason that I'm not giving him whole prey is because he's eating this better for me at the moment, and right now I need to get weight on him. I know that would work better with whole prey, but not if I'm having a hard time getting him to eat that. So he will eat the whole prey, it's just he'll eat like one small mice and then he'll get full up, whereas with some of this other stuff I can actually feed him a bit more throughout the night. So once I start getting some more weight on him, then we'll go somewhere different. But for right now, it's just important to be getting these vitamins in there that I'm sprinkling on, and that calcium. That way we can start building up what's supposed to be in his system, and maybe he'll keep some weight on. Now, I've already, his light's not in there because we're using it as lighting for the room, but I have already wetted down his enclosure for the day. I did that before camera guy got over here because there's no way I can fit everything that I need to do into a quick hour before I go to work. But yeah, that's getting Malachi ready for the day. He'll have his food in there. He'll be a horrible eater. I'll have to come back home tomorrow in the morning and pick what he didn't eat out of the dirt because he'll have it spread everywhere and there'll be a couple pieces left. But that's getting Malachi ready. All right, so I've already put their food in here. But while I was doing this, I noticed that we have a couple of poopy spots. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm getting them ready and I have time is I'll get the poop cleaned up. So there's a spot right here underneath Butters. Yeah, eat on your poop. You guys are brilliant. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just get a wet washcloth. I'll wipe this up. I'm gonna take this down here to the bathroom and get it cleaned up. We'll be back with the finished product. All right, poop is cleaned up. We got their bowl of food over here, and they will be able to enjoy their night in here. Now, I have been here for the last 3 nights with them, meaning that I've had plenty of time to watch their behavior on how they are. One of the things that I noticed was that Toast gets on top of Butters sometimes, and Butters gets on top of Toast sometimes. I've tried it with 2 different basking lights. I've tried it with 1. They do the same thing. I think they're just kind of establishing their communal boundaries and figuring out who's going to be the dominant in the relationship, who's going to be the submissive. But there's not been any aggression, and so far all that's going fine. I do not like the double amounts of poop in here, though. All right, so here we have Carolina, the black and white banded California king snake. And this thing's still a baby, but we have a little baby mouse in here for it. I don't know why he hasn't eaten it, but what I wanted to do right now, I have had the water out here for the last few days because it got really wet. and I wanted to let it dry up. So while cameraman's sitting here recording him, I'm gonna grab some water. Okay, I just put the water over here on the side, and then I hide the heck out of this enclosure because I've got certain people in the house that just can't handle the snakes. Alright, so over here we have ET. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bugs is what I counted whenever I put them in there. 10 bugs is what's in there right now. So what I'm doing, the reason I'm counting them is I just want to be sure he's eating. I've seen him eat 1 or 2 nights, but it doesn't seem like he's eating as much as what I would like him to. And so with me only having him here for less than a week, or about a week maybe now, maybe a little over a week, I'm not sure actually, I need to look. But he's probably still adjusting, but at the same time, I want to be making sure he's eating, and if he's not, I need to think of things I need to change. One of the things that I was seeing on the Chameleon Keeping Academy was, they say if your chameleon's big enough to bring home, it's big enough to go in adult enclosure. I do have one upstairs, and I'm thinking about pulling it down and maybe starting to get it ready if it seems like he's not going to do well in this one. Alright, so here is one of the cool things that you see when you're going around for the day. I didn't see this today, I actually seen this the day before yesterday. This is a freshly molted out male avicularia, or the common pink toe. Guy's pretty small for being a mature male, but what you see behind him is a mature female. And so what we'll be doing here is letting him build his sperm web, and we'll have a second tarantula breeding project going. Alright, over here we got a fan favorite, Burrow Toad. Look at this fat Jabba the Hutt looking dude. So what I like to do is I like to dig him out, give him a little water. See, he's like, I'm not having it, I'm going back in my hole. But I just like to rehydrate his enclosure. I'm going to be putting him in something different. I needed the 10-gallon he was in for something. And to be honest, they don't use a lot of space. This enclosure's probably fine for him. But I need this enclosure for crested geckos. So he will be going in something else soon. But I've got mealworms in there for him, and that's pretty much all I've got to do to get ready for him. All right, so here we have our pixie bullfrog, or African bullfrog. And we'll see if it wants to eat. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. There we go. And that's all I got to do to get ready for this for the day. And I don't have to feed this thing every day. I feed it I feed it fairly often because I want it to grow. But at the same time, in the wild, these things would go weeks without eating sometimes. Sometimes they'd go into a form of stasis and just stay in a suspended state for months on end until rains come. Alright, so with the Savannah monitors, I'll put food in here and I'll rehydrate the cage, especially the lay box. At this point, I'm not even sure if the female is gravid or not, and also she's going to be going to an old business partner of mine at any rate, so even if she is gravid, I won't get to see the eggs. But yeah, I'm just watering it down, and then I'll put some food in here, and it'll just be some, probably some deer meat, since that's what I already have thawed out. Alright, so I have old containers where I have had food in here. So my first step with the Cresties is getting all of these food containers out, and then we're going to wash them, and then when I come back, we're going to talk about what food we're going to be feeding them, and we're going to put it in. Alright, so this is a pre-made, by myself I should say, crested gecko diet that I make with fruit and supplements, and then I can put it in the freezer, and it makes it to where all I have to do is get up, thaw it out real quick, and I have a delicious blend that they'll eat. So what I do is I'll take and I'll put this directly on the ground, and I'll put it in the same spot round about every time, so that way they know where to find this at. And if you think about it, in the wild, when they're finding these rotten fruits, they're typically going to be finding them in around the same spots every time, underneath of certain trees that drop them. So it makes sense to keep them in the same area in your enclosure. Now, I'll have these for the smaller enclosures that I have in there. Now, these deeper dishes here are because crested geckos still need and like bugs in their diet. And I have a fresh supply of bugs. So instead of putting the bugs in the actual mix like I would if you were using, like, let's say a Pangea diet, I put my bugs off to the side, and then they can go to the fruit and they can have the fruit when they want to, or they can go to the bugs. Both of the things are going to have the supplements on it. This way, the individual crested gecko can choose what it wants based on what it needs. Do I need protein? Do I need fruit? Or maybe just the taste that it likes. As long as they're growing good, I'm fine with whatever item they're eating. One of the things that I like to do with the insect cups is I like to actually bury them in the dirt, so that way the crested geckos that are going to be getting in them for food don't topple them over and make it to where the bugs just get all over the enclosure. This kind of keeps the bugs where they're supposed to be, and the crested geckos can actually get in there and get what they need to eat. And when it comes to the tarantulas, over the last few nights I went ahead and got them all fed up and moisturized, all that. But so I don't have to do anything with these guys really daily. I did just want to show this girl off here. We're going to be doing a whole video soon. She's a little bit scared right now, but this is our DKS girl. This is the video we did the DKS on. And if I can get her to move here without... She doesn't seem to be moving like she has DKS anymore. So what we need to do is we need to go back and pull some of the old footage and then make another video with some of this new footage and put it together. That'll be one of the videos coming up soon, guys, DKS. So the next step in our journey here before I get to go work a 12+ hour shift is down in the basement. So we got our whole rodent crew going on down there. We'll take a look down there and be right back with that. Alright, so down here we have rows and rows of rodents, whether they be rats. We even got a couple of gerbils down here that breed for us. We haven't got to keep any babies from them yet because they ate their first group. We have the nicest African soft furs that you'll see in the world. Like, people cannot hold their African soft furs. Here, we can. We have beautiful red-eyed marten rats. This also has a Himalayan point. It's hard to bring that up on camera, but red-eyed marten Himalayan point rat. But we have mice too. We do all of our breeding down here for all of the animals that the producer man and I take care of. We don't have to go to the pet store to buy these things, which really allows us to have this collection. Without doing all of this extra work down here, we couldn't have the collections that we have. So yes, every day we got to come down here. We got to feed, we got to water. I bought a 50-pound bag of rodent food the last time that I bought a 50-pound bag of dog food, and I'm going to need rodent food again before I need dog food, and I feed a Great Dane. So they eat a lot of food. So, but that's pretty much the rodents down here in a nutshell, and that actually concludes a day in the life. After this, I'll get to go and I'll get to work a 12.5 or 13-hour shift, but tomorrow starts vacation, and hopefully we're going to be able to pump some extra videos out for you guys here at the end of the year around Christmas, because I know a lot of you guys are going to be off too, and maybe you guys will want some extra content to watch. So stay tuned to Hillbilly Herpetology. We'll see y'all here the next time.